So, hey, Chucklefucks, it's your boy, Dark Raikou here with What If Issei was a reincarnation of Karma Akabane, Part 3. Never mind. I was gonna ramble on. Never mind. Sorry, I'm keep burping. What's it called? So, let me go into this what if. Let me shut the fuck up. But before I go on and further with this what if, so yes, I definitely, it's probably definitely a month for what's it called, or a month old of what if Issei was the Spartan descendant or descendant of Sparta. Yes, I think it's definitely a month old. Uh, but not the point. So I might stop recording videos for my second channel and going on for my first channel to finish some stuff. But yeah, I might just stop uploading. Just until I actually keep reading the mangas. I stopped reading for a while, but then I'm just gonna continue back on it. And also that I might also just kind of read up on a couple of webtoons and a couple of other stuff. But yeah. And then I'll just come back and definitely try to finish the what if. But yeah. Let me begin into this what if. Let me shut the fuck up. But yeah. Other than that, let me begin. So we go into Issei. Issei is just waking up. After a weird night, he didn't really remember until he mostly opened his eyes. Seeing a girl laying on his arm. His arm felt numb, of course. But of course, this is where, he sees the girl having orange hair into two ponytails. And of course, also, this girl is just sleeping soundly. And this is where Issei in his head thinks cute. This is where, out of nowhere, Drake says, "Oh, cute. You know what you gotta do, partner." This is where Issei said, "Okay, never mind. You are creepy. Go away." This is where, Drake says, "No, Issei. No, Issei. This is bad. Let me talk to you for a second." This is where Issei says, "Okay, fine. Talk, Karama. What do you want?" What you gotta do with her is, I'm not going into details in what Drake said, but pretty much it's all plus 18. So your imagination can go wild, okay? Everyone who's watching this, your imagination can go wild. I'm not going into details because I don't really like going into plus 18 stuff, but yeah. Pretty much, Drake told him all this, and Issei's face is red as well. Mostly, basically his face is all red, just like Rias's hair. This is where, Issei kind of said, shut the fuck up, Karama. I mean, not Karama, mostly Drake. Damn, I mixed Drake with Karama, oops. But pretty much he said, "Shut the fuck up, Drake." What the hell? This is where, Drake says, "Oh, come on, Issei. It's not that bad, is it? Besides, you can make her yours. You can make this girl one of your..." This is where Issei, shut up. He disconnected this, but of course, this is where, he was about to disconnect it until he kind of noticed someone else kind of go, like a kind of moan. This is where, Issei turns to Irina. Irina's sound asleep. This is where he turns to the other side and sees two pair of legs. And when he looks all the way down from those two pair of legs, he sees none other than, what's it called? This is where when he looks all the way down, he sees a girl right now sleeping with having a blue hair and a green streak. Of course, where, Issei sees everything underneath. Mostly, she does have what's it called underwear, but it's mostly panties. And of course, it's blue. But of course, where, Issei closes his eyes instantly. Of course, he saw a shirt, but then the shirt wasn't fully intact. And of course, they show a little bit of some jugs. Or mostly, in other words, in English, mostly in what's it called? What was the other word? Dugs. I think that's where there was one word where if you wanted, there was jugs, dugs, and other things, blah, blah, blah. It's funny to see dugs, but never mind. I'm going off track, but never mind. This is where, Issei sees this, and of course, he closes his eyes or mostly look up entirely. And this is where Drake says, "Oh, my partner sees another girl." That's where Issei said, "Nope, we're not doing this whole plus 18 shit again. Stop it. Go away." This is where, Drake says, "Oh, come on, Issei. You know Issei just stops the link, like shuts him up for a second. This is where Issei says, okay, gotta think of something. This is where Issei, his left arm can move. This is where he starts kind of making a magic circle in his hand. It's kind of reddish, but he's trying to make sure that it doesn't notify, what's it called? It doesn't notify Zenobia or Irina. And this is where, well, he kind of throws the magic circle out of his hand, landing it on the ground, and creating a magic, well, mostly a clone of himself. And this is where, well, he then kind of like basically uses his hand to kind of grab the mostly the clone to switch places. This is where Issei says switch. This is where, well, he kind of just snapped his fingers just to switch places. But this is where, well, when he switches places, the clone is now in that whole mess while Issei is getting ready. Issei takes off his gray shirt because he was kind of wearing a gray shirt. Of course, he's kind of like taking off gray shirt, putting on a white kind of like button-up shirt. This is where he puts on a black coat. This is where, well, he puts on black, well, mostly gray pants because he was in his boxers most of the time. But he put on some gray pants and, of course, black shoes. This is where, well, he now has to go get into school. This is where he gets his book bag. And this is where, well, Issei opens the door. Of course, destroys that bubble, that silencer bubble, by mostly magic barrier. He kind of destroys it and making sure that it doesn't wake up his parents, but he probably already knows that his parents already left. Well, mostly except his mother. This is where, well, he feels like his mother is probably downstairs. So, of course, this is where he instead kind of goes to, well, they're mostly another room that mostly should have been a zoning, what's it called? Ugh. It should have been Zenobia's kind of room, her mostly Irina and Zenobia's kind of room just to sleep at. But of course, they went to Issei's instead. So of course, Issei opens that door, kind of sees the window. He then opens it, jumps out, closes it back. But of course, he did close the door so he can just leave. He runs out. And of course, he's getting, well, mostly to school. Now, of course, he needs all of this to be kind of silent. Mostly, well, he's kind of doing this all silent. So it doesn't notify his mother, and it doesn't notify the other two girls. This is where, well. So, yeah. This is where, well. So that was happening. This is where Issei just, like, did it all assassinate, kind of very quietly. But it's like an assassin. This is where, well, he got out and just kind of ran to school. Well, mostly tried to, but yeah. This is where, well, he's getting to school, but not running that much. He kind of just starts walking there, but yeah. This is where, well, we go into a scene, well, mostly, we go into back at Issei's house, and this is where, well, Issei's mother decides to check on them, just to, well, even though not to ruin their fun, she decides to go check on them, just to wake up Issei to get to school, but yeah. This is where, well, she kind of gets towards upstairs, sees a magic circle already destroyed, which is confusing. Maybe Issei already woke up. When she opens the door, she sees Irina and Zenobia still asleep, and, well, Zenobia in such a weird position. But of course, Issei is asleep also. This is where she noticed that Issei is only a magic clone. Zenobia and Irina wouldn't notice, but his mother already noticed super fast. This is where, well, she goes, this is where, well, Zenobia and Irina wakes up and says, oh, hey, Mika. Her name, yeah. You know what, I'm gonna call, Issei's mother Mika. I don't remember what I call her. I don't think I did ever say her name, but her name is Mika. This is where, well, Irina and Zenobia says, hello there, Mika. This is where Mika says, it seems that you two just got ditched upon by my son. Oops. This is where, well, Irina and Zenobia are confused, but Issei's right here. That's only a clone. This is where she pulls out this, like, senbon out of, well, mostly from her hair, like a senbon, and throws it so fast at, well, Issei that it stabs upon Issei when he kind of got up, and the magic clone realized that he was already found out, and he just poof away. This is where, well, Zenobia and, well, Irina wind their eyes. That was only a clone? This is where, well, mostly Mika says, yeah, he already decided to leave. He probably already found out that I was downstairs. He probably left through maybe the hallway room. This is where she tries to sense where his magic would have went, or mostly where he was stepping. He realized he went into Zenobia's room because he realized the two girls are in his room. So of course he went there and decides to open the door, sees the windows closed, so of course he jumped out and closed it. And of course just ran off. This is where, well, her eyes were glowing most of the time. Her hazel eyes, her hazel greenish eyes. This is where, well, the two girls are just wondering their eyes and how Issei is sneaky, but yeah. This is where, well, Mika, she's not that surprised because Issei has done this when he was little also, to kind of go outside and kind of just wander, but yeah. But of course, well, it's not really that much surprising because basically, like was a cough, well, like father, like son. She literally just catches what's called Goro doing the exact same thing. When he's supposed to be resting and he's sick, he usually manages to sneak away from her also. But of course, well, Issei is getting to school. Of course, having his book bag thing on his back and other things. Of course, mostly holding it with his, what's called left arm. And of course, getting to school. This is where two people, like, walk behind him and just surprise him. Kind of breathing into his neck. This is where Issei gets aroused and his face becomes pink. This is where he turns around and sees two beautiful fallen angels. Mostly one with blackish hair and reddish eyes, and another with blondish hair, two ponytail blondish hair, mostly palish blonde pinkish hair a little bit. Of course, well, and has dull blue eyes, and they kind of just smile gently at Issei. This is where Issei's face is still red, and this is where he says, "What are you two doing, Junko? Rainer, what are you two doing?" This is where, well, they giggle as well. Issei's kind of, well, mostly expression on his face, but yeah. This is where they say, "Aw, we were just trying to make sure that you're aroused from that." This is where, well, Issei said, "Shut up." This is where Issei then shakes his head and says, "Still, not the point." This is where, well, he starts talking about there's two exorcists, and this is where, well, both, what's it called, well, not Zenobi, mostly both, Rainer and Junko get serious and says, "Two exorcists? What do you mean?" It looks like the two exorcists are looking for the Excaliburs, from the church. This is where they said, oh yeah, we did get a notification from mostly our father about be careful with the two exorcists because it seems that Excalibur has been taken from church. This is where, well, 4 pieces mostly. This is where Issei nodded. This is where, well, Issei said, "But yeah, I need you two to be really careful. I know the two exorcists, one was a childhood friend and the other is her friend, but yeah." This is where, well, both of them had like this look of, are you really trying to build a harem? This is where Issei says, "I'm not building a harem. Literally, there's one is one of my childhood friends and the other is her friend. Just don't think of anything suspicious." This is where, well, they both kind of had a sadistic, mostly seductive look to them and says, "Sure, we won't think of anything. But I'm wondering, did you sleep with your childhood friend?" This is where Issei's face becomes a little pinkish because legit he was just like sleeping. He was like next to her, sleeping next to her. But mostly she was cuddling with him just doing absolutely nothing. Issei says no. This is where his face becomes turned. This is where, well, they kind of giggle a little bit, just saying, "If you did, you wouldn't mind going with you also." This is where Issei's face is a little bit red and says, "No, that's not the case. Jesus Christ, can you two just get serious?" This is where they say, "Fine. But you owe us for this." This is where they kind of poke him in the chest. And this is where Issei says, "What do you want from me?" "Oh, you want a couple things. Not much." They're kind of just grinning a little bit at Issei. He says, okay. This is where Issei's face is a little bit red, like his hair, but yeah. This is where, well, they get to the school, and of course they walk in. Now, of course, every guy has envy looks at Issei, while girls has, well, envy looks, but also fear in their eyes. And girls have, well, mostly fear in their eyes when they try to look at Issei. Because Issei, he is still considered the Prince of Darkness. This is where, well, Issei is kind of getting towards class. Of course, where, well, Before getting to class, both Junko and Rainer kind of hug him and says not to go crazy on the, well, red hair. Well, mostly they can't really say red hair bitch because Issei does have red hair also. But of course, they just tell him not to go crazy on the red hair slut. That kind of annoys him. Issei says, I know, I calm down. Don't worry about me. I'm very calm. And this is where, well, they look at him and says, okay. This is where, well, Junko then kind of did a very seductive look and says, if you're not very calm, then we can go into the bathroom and I can give you a... This is where Issei says, no, I'm very calm. Issei's face is a little bit red and says, I'm very, very calm. Calm down. This is where, well, Junko's sad a little bit, but then she grins a little bit at him. This is where Junko says, I tried my best. This is where, well, Rainer's face was a little bit pink when she heard her sister kind of say those words mostly towards Issei. And this is where, well, Issei says, I'm fine, you two can just leave. Besides getting to my class. This is where, well, they said fine. This is where they walk away, but this is where Issei's getting towards his, well, mostly class. This is where, well, before getting to his class, this is where someone meets up with him towards, well, mostly the classroom. It's none other than, well, mostly his second rank. Or mostly the second rank of the infamous. None other than, what's it called? Well, so his name is Fudo. And of course, it's just this person with black hair. He has gloves on, like black gloves, but they have like these metal braces on his, like, mostly on the back of a hand. And this is where, well, they mostly look like metal kind of diamond shape or whatever. But of course, it worked. Well, he has this kind of small grin and says, yo, Issei. This is where Issei says, what? Please don't tell me you got in trouble again. This is where Fuma says, no, I didn't get in trouble again. You have zero hope for me, do you? Yep, I have zero fucking hope for you or Dabi. You two fight each other on a daily basis. How is Lelouch even third rank? He should be at least second rank. This is where, well, Fuma says, you know damn well why I'm second rank. Is it because, oh no, of your ugly ass looks? This is where, well, Fuma goes, you realize if we weren't infamous people, like unpopular mostly, or very feared upon mostly everyone, you do know damn well that mostly the girl population would definitely love us. This is where, well, Issei says, talk for yourself. I don't think anyone will like me. Really, your red hair does remind a lot of people of Ria's Creamery. This is where, well, Issei said, whatever. Besides, I don't care about being popular. All I care is my plans. Going smoothly and me having a quiet life. This is where, well, Fuma kind of laughs a little bit, chuckles, saying, quiet life, interesting. Is that really what you want, or do you want something else? That's all I want. Now go away. This is where Fuma says, too bad. You see here, I kind of got moved up to your class. This is where, well, Issei looks confusedly. Why? This is where Issei is confused. Why though? This is where, well, Fuma says, I don't know. Talk to Sona about that. I kind of got moved randomly. This is where, well, Issei says, was it because of your first hour being with Dabi? Yeah. This is where, well, Issei says, then why did Sona put you with me? I don't know. This is where, well, someone walks over and says, hey guys. This is where, well, when they turn around, they see a black hair, mostly kind of having black hair, hair boy with purple eyes, or, yeah, wait. Having black hair and, of course, purple eyes. Well, one being covered up a little bit. But, of course, well, he has purple eyes. And, of course, is wearing uniform, but very fancy a little bit. This is where, well, Fuma didn't really wear his uniform that much. He just wore a coat. Similar mostly towards Issei's. But, of course, having a, what's it called, purple shirt underneath. And, of course, we're having black pants. And some black shoes, but yeah. This is where, well, Fuma and Issei says, Lelouch, what are you talking about? Lelouch says, oh, well, you remember that whole thing about mostly making Sona, like, forgive me and the whole beating her in chess? Issei says, yeah, I just told you to kind of make out her and just say maybe she will forgive you. I guess that actually worked. This is where both Issei and Fuma just kind of exploded into just, mostly they double take and just said, what? This is where, well, Issei said, yeah. This is where, well, Issei says, well, damn, good luck with that. I wonder how your queen is going to feel about that. This is where, well, Lelouch says, she feels okay, I guess. Well, what about Colin? Colin's interested in someone else. This is where, well, Issei says, let me guess, Suzaku. Yeah, kinda. This is where, well, Issei says, well, good luck with them. At least, I mean, they're both skill and what to call, mostly martial arts and other things, and he don't really run that much. This is where, well, he's mostly Lelouch says, oh yeah, screw you two, man. Okay, I don't work out. Yes, I know I don't work out. I mean, do you two even work out? This is where Fugaku, or mostly, yeah, Fugaku kind of says, yeah, I do work out. What do you mean? Okay, fighting is not working now. He looks at Fugaku. This is where, well, he then looks at Lelouch. I mean, not Lelouch, Issei. Issei said, well, when you say workout, what are you talking about? Okay, magic doesn't count either. That's where Issei says, well, it's interesting, right? I mean, there is another workout I do. Okay, torturing people does not also count as working out. Issei says, cool. Well, that's sad. This is where, well, Lelouch says, whatever. I'm also in this class. Interesting. Well, that's very interesting. They basically have three of the infamous people. First rank, second rank, and third rank. First rank, the Prince of Darkness. Second rank, the Knight of Darkness. And third rank, the Mastermind of Darkness. Why would they do that? I don't know. You ask them. I'm surprised they didn't ask for Dabi, the Flames of Darkness. Or even Junko, the Queen, well, mostly the Princess of Darkness. Or mostly Darkness and Despair. Or just Despair, Prince of Despair. Or even put Rainier, who is 6th rank, called the Angel of Darkness. Does it work, Mom? I don't know, man. You ask them. I really don't know. How about you ask Sona? Because I just got a notification about that a while ago on my phone. Fugaku says, yeah, same thing. So Fudo says, yeah, I don't know. They also sent me a notification. Did they send you a notification? This is where Issei pulls out his phone. Well, is looking for his phone. Realize he left that at home. Issei says, no, I'm gonna have to need one of your phones so I can log into my, what's it called, account. This is where, well, Lelouch says, fine, here. This is where, well, Issei kind of like, right now, kind of logs into the school website to kind of go into his account and check on his email mostly. Or mostly went into his own email. This is where, well, he sees none. There's really nothing there. So, of course, he logs out, deleting his own email from, well, Lelouch's phone and giving it back to Lelouch. This is where, well, Lelouch says, so, I guess they didn't send you anything. Nope. We should probably get into class. All at once? Fuck it. Fudo, you go in there first. That's why Fudo says, wait, why me? You're the new one in class. This is where they, mostly Issei kind of push him towards the class. This is where he knocks at the door. And that's where, well, both Issei and Lelouch kind of stand in the corner of the hallway, kind of looking towards to see if Fudo is going to, or, I'm going to call him Fugaku. Fugaku is going to get accepted into the classroom. This is where, well, Fugaku got accepted, but the teacher seems very nervous, really on edge, like he already expected the, well, mostly Knight of Darkness to appear. This is where, well, Fugaku says that his name is Fugaku and other last name is what's it called. So I'm gonna just say his name is Fugaku Nomura. This is where, well, that's his full name, and this is where everyone kind of just wind their eyes to see the Prince of Darkness being here. Mostly not the Prince of Darkness, the Knight, mostly the Darkness of, mostly the Knight of Darkness. This is where, well, the teacher says, you can go sit down over there. He kind of points at a chair, mostly next to a female with, what's it called, black hair, and of course these purple eyes. This is where, well, mostly, not purple hair, no. Blondish hair and these purple eyes, and of course has a very fiery attitude. This is where Fugaku say, huh, interesting. This is where, well, we go into mostly, well, Lelouch going inside also. This is where, well, the teacher's also very nervous. He hasn't seen the Prince of Darkness, but now seen the Mastermind of Darkness. This is where, well, everyone widening their eyes to see another person, one of the another person, infamous. This is where, well, Lelouch says, the name is Lelouch V. Britannian. And I'm basically, you know already who I am. I can't really deny that. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. Who knows? This is where Lelouch looks all around the classroom, sees Ria's Grammary, sees also someone that he wasn't expecting for Fugaku to sit next to, mostly a girl with blondish hair, who, if you can remember right, her name is Yang or something? Well, mostly, yeah. So her name is Yang Shalong, and of course, he then kind of ignores her because Fugaku's going to have a tough time if he ever going to just fight, because, well, Yang seems to be really strong and has an ability that every time she kind of gets hit or something, her power increases. So of course he's going to say, well, good luck there, Fugaku. But yeah, and this is where he's all looking around until the teacher says, Lelouch, can you go sit down next to Sona? This is where, well, Lelouch looks all around, and this is where, well, he already found Sona where she's at. She's in the middle, but all the way in the back of the, classroom. Lelouch says, fuck, I should have realized this. I basically, I played into her game. Maybe she's very angry at me. This is where, well, something in his head then thinks, maybe I should. No. Lelouch starts shaking his head by embarrassment. Of course, is where he goes sit down next to Sona. And of course, where, well, Lelouch doesn't actually look into her, or neither does she look into him. This is where, well, Lelouch says, oh gosh, she's probably so fucking pissed at me for doing that. She's going to be very angry. This is where, well, we go into Issei walking in. This is where, well, everyone widened their eyes to see the Prince of Darkness. They all thought that he got moved out, but really much Issei got moved. Well, he's still in this classroom, and he goes sit down towards Ria's Grammari's chair. This is where, well, everyone is kind of now nervous, really fucking nervous. This is where, well, they have three of the most infamous people, and they're dangerous. I mean, Lelouch isn't dangerous in physical combat, but he's still very dangerous if you want to piss him off. This is why, well, because he has, well, mostly a knight that he has under him named Suzaku, and Suzaku is a top athlete and other things, and he would definitely beat the shit of anyone who dare, well, try to attack his best friend, who is Lelouch. But yeah, other than that, Fugaku is already a problem child because he does, love like the Japanese kind of culture and does like bringing out swords and other things. Well, he mostly fights with his hands, and of course everyone kind of noticed that he's like a battle maniac in fights. This is where, well, next is Issei, and Issei is a problem child for almost anyone. He is very calm, collected, but if you piss him off, he's going to fuck your fucking life over. Literally just throw you, well, into the hospital for like 9 days or 9 years there. If he feels very pity, he will send you into like 9 days. If he feels really annoyed and pissed off, he's gonna send you into like 9 years there. But of course, this is where, well, that happens, and of course, this is where, well, we go into, well, the classroom. This is where the teacher is kind of like teaching the other things. He feels really nervous. He's sweating bullets, but yeah, Fugaku isn't really paying attention. Lelouch is really not paying attention. No one's really paying attention towards Lelouch or Sona. This is where Lelouch starts kind of whispering towards Sona and saying, so, I wonder why the council president is sitting next to the mastermind of darkness. Tell me, Sona, why are you sitting next to me? This is where, well, Sona kind of glances at him, doesn't really say anything until, well, Lelouch needed to kind of take a much more forward approach and decides to kind of like grab her hand, like touch her hand. This is where she won her eyes and didn't expect Lelouch to be that forward. This is where Lelouch was kind of grinning, but inside he's right now thinking this is the most stupidest idea he ever thought of. But he needs to because, well, he needs information from freaking Sona. This is where Sona says, let go of my hand. Lelouch says in a very gentle but very kind of teasing voice. Why should I? Tell me, are you not gonna talk to me? This is where, well, Sona's face is all red and says, fine, what do you want? Are you gonna let go of me? Maybe, but tell me. This is where, well, Sona says, okay, fine. What is it? Lulu says, why did he put us three in this classroom? I know you can handle me with, well, what's called mind games. Maybe. Maybe not. Then again, you did lose. And I did kind of take your first. This is where Sona says, shut up. Don't remind me of that. This is where Lulu says, but you didn't fight me back. You didn't push me away. I'm guessing you liked it. Sona says, shut up. This is where, well, Lulu says, are you going to answer my question? Fine. The reason why I put you here with, well, mostly the Knight of Darkness and the Prince of Darkness was to see how good is their teamwork. Lulu says, teamwork? Huh. You think we three can actually work together? This is where, well, Sona says, of course I do. You three are the most, well, troublesome people in the whole school. Even though you don't get into fights, you can see a calculation and other plans to just put around. You basically the mastermind of the whole game. If you were entirely the mastermind, well, the only person that can actually be able to stop your mastermind plans or anything would be that of the actual Prince of Darkness, Issei. This is where, well, Lelouch kind of grins a little bit, seeing how she knows a little bit more than she lets on. This is where, well, Lelouch kind of increases by kind of like grabbing her hand and kind of putting his fingers in between her fingers. This is where Sona says, what are you doing? This is so embarrassing. Stop it. This is where Lelouch says, how could I? You're so cute when you're kind of just that smart. I'm kind of aroused. This is where he said that whispering, and this is where Sona winds her eyes. This is where Lelouch lets go and says, I'm just kidding. This is where, well, Sona's face is all red. This is where, well, Lelouch in his head says, this is the most stupidest idea. But the only person that actually saw this kind of interaction was none other than Issei. He kind of noticed what they were trying to do. Lelouch is trying to get information. The only way to be getting information from a quiet girl is by being kind of mostly forceful nature, by kind of being teasing and yet gentle at the same time. This is where, well, Issei thought he would never be that type of person because Lelouch is also somewhat timid, but at the same time, if he needs information, he's going to have to change his personality. But yeah, mostly in desperate situations, he changes personality. Either to serious, when there's actually a serious, a very serious problem. When it's kind of non-serious, he's pretty relaxed, he doesn't really care, but he's already planning on like multiple plans at once. Like several steps and plans and other things. But of course, if it's like really not that serious, he won't even care that much. But he already like had one plan and idea to just be able to defeat the problem. A very small problem, but he doesn't care. But of course, well, Issei knows that Lelouch does have a lot of personalities he needs to change to kind of fit the same personality of the other person. Or not the same personality, but maybe different personality, trying to get information from them one way or another. This is where, well, Lelouch had mostly his phone on his like back, and of course he was, well, not on his back, he mostly had it next to him, but mostly underneath him. He was already texting, well, Fugaku and, well, Issei, or mostly Issei, because Fugaku would be an idiot and just show off his phone. This is where, well, the message was sent straight towards, well, Issei. And Issei was hearing music in his ears. He really didn't care about paying attention. And of course, well, he kind of got the notification. It didn't like beep or anything. It did kind of beep in his, well, earbuds. And this is where, well, he pulls out his phone. And of course, since he has his phone towards the left of his side, because he knows when he sits next to Rias is going to be seeing what kind of music he hears. But yeah, this is where, well, he pulls out his phone. And of course, the song he's hearing right now is called, well, the song he's hearing is Netflix called Badass, and of course he's just hearing that, and of course he reads the message pretty fast, and of course, well, he understands what is happening. Pretty much there might be a challenge, a small challenge, in between classes, or even in classes. This is where, well, The teacher then announced something saying that he will be calling people outside. Now, of course, when he calls them outside, what's it called? There's like 30 minutes of class left. But of course, he would be calling them outside and then telling them to go into a specific place. Pretty much is where, well, he calls the first, well, mostly he would call two people up. This is where, well, first two people up would basically be Issei and Ria's Gremory. This is where, well, they both stood up. This is where Issei puts a chair inside his, like, what's it called, the desk. Of course, he doesn't have his, like, backpack because, well, I wouldn't say Issei does really, well, I mean, he does have his backpack, but he just puts it on his desk. Ria's also has her kind of luggage there also. We'll see her backpack. This is where, well, they go outside, and of course, where, well, the teacher explains and what he needs from both of them. This is where, well, they basically have a contest and going, well, mostly towards the council, or mostly the council office to kind of get some stuff. This is where, well, both, well, Rias and, well, Issei looked at each other, and this is where, well, it doesn't really, well, they don't really know what they have to get, but they're basically going to have to go to the council office first. This is where, well, the person says, well, about that, you need to get there, with each other without leaving one behind, okay? This is where, well, Issei kind of sighs and says, fine, I'll be going then. This is where, well, they kind of go and walk off, mostly standing next to each other by walking at the same pace, while the teacher kind of goes back inside, or mostly stay out there, and kind of calls random students to kind of go, but of course just to leave early, or mostly go to the next class early. This is where, well, while Issei and Rias are kind of walking next to each other, Issei doesn't really say anything. He then thinks in his head multiple, what's it called, possibilities in why he's next to Ria's Gremory. First, she is, well, one of the, what's it called, 4 queens and popular girls of the school. Second, he does know about that whole thing. Second, she's a devil, mostly one of the devil, related to one of the devil kings. Third, something crazy might have happened with, well, that fried chicken with her. That fried chicken and her, maybe their marriages were canceled or something, and he might have to be involved. Or, fourth, there might be a possible challenge, and maybe there's a whole prize in this battle. Because he does know if 3 of the darkness members, mostly of the infamous, are in one classroom and not the others, then there must be a possibility chance of a whole battle between happening. But not a battle of like physically or other things. Maybe it's just to see how good would they be, blah, 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 blah. Something like that. This is where, well, he doesn't understand. This is where Rias, she's walking kind of emotionally. Of course, doesn't really have an expression on her face. And this is where Issei said, what to tell her? Let's see, what kind of information should I get from her? This is where Issei then grins, telling about the exorcist. This is where Issei says, so, Rias Gremory. Rias doesn't pay attention that much. That's where Issei says, I knew you wouldn't pay attention to me. What happened if I tell you that there's 2 exorcists coming to school? 2 exorcists going to try to attack you. This is where Rias looks at him with a surprised look now, out of the emotional look. And this is where Issei jokes, just starts laughing. He says, this was the most easiest way to get you to look at me. But no, seriously, there is 2 exorcists. And they're not actually after you. Mostly they're after, 4 fragments of the Excalibur, since they got stolen. This is where Rias digests this, most of the information from Issei. And this is where she says, wait, what? Are you positive? Yeah, I met with them. Besides, my family has a very good connection with some exorcists. Now, of course, you can say I might not be one of the greatest people to be messing with, but yeah, I'm not an exorcist myself. I don't really care about that whole stuff. So yeah, this is where, well, she then digests most of the information and says, okay, well, I feel like this information wasn't for just one cause. This is where Issei says, of course it's not. This is where, well, Issei kind of grab her hand and be a little bit more forward to her. and says, besides, I want to know, what are we actually supposed to be doing here? I know this whole thing might be a challenge. I got information from, well, both Sona and Lelouch. Mostly Lelouch gets information from Sona. That's where Reyes is blushing right now from the fact that Issei kind of grabbed her hand, and she can feel the smooth, what's it called, hand that he has. It's smooth and rough at the same time, but mostly smooth. This is where, well, Issei can also feel her hand being really smooth, but this is where Issei doesn't have a tint of blush. But of course, where Issei is trying to show not that most of the information of having blush or anything. This is where, well, Issei has a small little grin on his face, saying, so, you gonna answer my question or not? This is where Reyes looks somewhere else, trying to get her face back to emotional, well, mostly emotionless, until Issei says, so you're not gonna be talking. This is where Issei pulls her hand towards his face and decides to kind of kiss it gently. This is where Reyes' face becomes all red now. He says, so you're gonna tell me now? Or do I need to do something else? Maybe kiss you in the lips. This is where Reyes' face becomes red. This is where she starts kind of putting her hand in front of her friend and says, wait, we can talk about it. This is where, well, Issei says, good. So, what is this challenge that I'm hearing about? This is where Reyes kind of gulps. This is where she said, okay, fine. The whole challenge thing was supposed to be, well, to see if, well, mostly, to meet, well, with my, this is where, well, they're barely getting to the, what's it called, council office, and they're barely even near it, because Issei did put, what's it called, well, mostly push her to the wall and put both of his hands over her, or mostly just stopping her from moving anyway. This is where, well, she says, well, this is where, well, Issei says, to meet who? This is where, well, an older man, well, the sound of an older man says, to meet me. You can let go of my sister, unless you're gonna kiss her. This is where, well, Issei's face becomes red and does look behind him and sees a red-haired man with armor on and having blue eyes. And sees, well, the silver and, well, mostly silver hair and silver eyes. I think she has silver eyes. And having a maid outfit next to the older man. This is where, well, Issei says, I wasn't gonna do anything to her. This is where, well, the older person says, really? Yet you kissed her hand like a gentleman will. This is where, well, Issei says, that was the only way to get information from her. I didn't expect her to become a stuttering mess. This is where, well, Reyes is gulping right now, seeing her older brother. This is where, well, Issei says, so, what is this whole mess about? Sir Zack says, since you're the one who defeated Riser Phoenix, you be the one to have to take responsibility of Reyes Creamery, my sister. Issei said, and why should I? Why should I listen to you? Why should I even bother? And what do you mean take responsibility? This is where, well, Sir Zack kind of grins at him and says, oh, about that. What I mean about responsibility, I mean you're gonna have to marry her. This is where Issei's face becomes red and just kind of steam started appearing from his ears. Even Reyes kind of starts blushing, because she didn't really get a notification from that whole thing. Mostly, she was told to just get to the council office with Issei to meet with Sir Zack. Not really anything else. Just where, well, her face is all red and steam is coming out from her ears also. This is where Issei's also. Issei kind of glances at what's it called, Sir Zack. Sir Zack is much closer towards what's it called, Reyes and Issei himself. And this is where, well, he then kind of feels like he's being kind of grabbed, but mostly pushed closer towards, well, Reyes. This is where, well, both Reyes and Issei looks at each other. No, they're like really close to each other. And this is where, well, they could have easily kissed. And this is where, well, Sir Zack says, what I want from both of you is to basically marry each other. Now, I know that's what's called devils, and, well, in your case, since you're some kind of red Arctic angel, I know that angels and devils aren't really a compatible thing. But yet, you're also a devil at the same time. A brand one, but still a devil yourself. Issei said, what are you talking about? Me? This is where, well, Issei turns around just because he was really close to Reyes, and of course he then turns around. Right now, facing somewhere else, and Reyes does the same. This is where, well, Issei says, besides, we're not compatible. This is where, well, Sir Zack says, I know you two aren't compatible, So we're just making a small little arrangement in the near future about angels, fallen angels, and devils. Maybe an alliance in the near future. So I just wanting to ask if you two get married, I mean the alliance might become stronger. I know you Issei aren't really a part of the angel or well, fallen angel faction or even the devil faction because well of your special case. You're the first red Arctic angel or red fallen Arctic angel to ever exist. This is where well Issei says, well about that. How do you know that so much about me? This is where well Issei says the only person that knows about this would be Azel. This is where, well, Azel appears behind Issei and says, that's correct, boy. I did tell Sir Zex here about that. This is where Issei kind of glares at Azel and says, why? This is where, well, Azel says, why not? It would be much interesting to see the Grimoire of a devil faction marry off with the falling red Arctic Angel. This is where, well, Issei says, screw you. This must be a plan. My parents won't ever agree to this. This is where, well, Azo says, are you sure about that? Goro, can you come out? This is where, well, Goro says, hello there, Issei. Issei says, Dad? What are you doing here? This is where, well, mostly Rias turns around to see, mostly two fallen angels. One is the leader, or mostly governor, general leader towards what they call the fallen angels. And the other one is, well, mostly someone that she never met but has actually 8 wings in total. Mostly 4 wings on one side and 4 wings on the other side. Now Azo does have what's it called, show off his 12 wings in total. Mostly 6 on one side and 6 on the other side. This is where, well, she can see that these fallen angels are very powerful. Now of course Sir Zax doesn't seem to be bothered between the two fallen angels. They are right now mostly behind Issei. Issei is right now confused, shocked and just confused. This is where Issei says, what are you talking about? Me? There must be a better suitable fucking mate with this. I am not that perfect. This is where, well, Issei is right now saying that he's not really perfect. This is where, well, Ezo and Kodo kind of start chuckling, saying you're not too perfect. Kid, I don't really have another perfect with a call fallen angel to kind of ask, because you realize that I have 2 daughters. I don't really have a son. I have 2 daughters. They are fallen angels. And I don't think Rias is into being, well, into other girls. This is where Rias kind of blushed a little bit. He said, kind of just looked at this, saying, but still, what about the angel side? Michael doesn't have children. And I don't think there's any other angels that are the same age as you and Rias. He say, but unless you want to go out with Sona for the devil side. But then again, I think your friend is already interested with her. Even though they're very timid to each other. This is where, well, Issei said, This is where, well, Issei hasn't said anything. He just has his mouth kind of widened and looks very distraught in this whole thing. This is where, well, Issei kind of goes and says, but I'm not a fallen angel or an Arctic angel. Or mostly an angelic angel. I'm a mutated red angel. Azo says, well, that's the problem. We still don't understand how you have red wings instead of black wings, or even white wings, or even double wings. But that's not the case. You're the only one that's the same age as Rias Grimoire. So the marriage between you and, what's it called, not you, mostly Rias and, Riser was canceled from the fact that you beat the shit out of Riser so bad that Riser Phoenix, is no longer wanting to marry anyone, and he's just very scared to go into the human world if you're here. This is where, well, Issei says, good fucking riddance for that bastard. Still, that's not the point. Why? She can choose whoever she likes. This is where, well, Issei said, in a very desperate tone, because he's hoping that Rias likes someone else, not him. This is where, well, because it will kind of mess up his relationship with, what's it called, Junko and, what's it called, Rainier. This is where, well, and maybe other people, but not the point. This is where, well, Drake is staying silent. Issei hasn't heard Drake in a while, and even though he connected the link just to talk to him before this whole situation even happened. This is where, well, About that, mostly, well, Azo says, about that. Ria's Grammary, this is where Hazel said, who do you like? This is where Ria's, her face is all red, and she is kind of looking, glancing a little bit at Issei, and she doesn't really say it. It's where, well, Sir Zack says, sis, just tell us and who you like. And if it's not Issei, then we will stop this whole marriage and this whole using you two children as kind of like mostly guaranteed of what's it called, alliance. This is where, well, Issei, this is where he's kind of blushing. This is where, well, Ria said, this is where, well, she just points at Issei. This is where, well, Issei widened his eyes. He did notice that, well, the grandmother did like have a small crush on him, but he didn't know if that was the case because, yeah. This is where, well, Issei kind of widened his eyes, and this is where, well, his golden yellow eyes kind of landed on Rias, and this is where, well, Rias is right now blushing, having both of her hands on, what's it called, her face now. Mostly stopped pointing at Issei and puts both of her hands on her face. Right now trying to cover up the embarrassment that she has. This is where, well, the embarrassment and fluster that she's feeling, but yeah. This is where, well, Issei said, but, this is where Azo says, before you mention any further, nothing between your relation between, what's it called, my two daughters will affect that. It's only a guaranteed kind of tool between no war in, what's it called, between the three factions. Do you want war or do you want, well, peace? Issei said, I guess I want peace. This is where, well, Sir Zax and Hansa says, good. Well, we should be taking our leave now. This is where Goro says, mostly grabs Issei from the shoulder, mostly kind of puts his arm around him, and says, don't worry, kid. Besides, me and your mother are going to be really happy when you bring, well, what's it called, hybrids of red double-winged children towards us. Or maybe the same with red wings. This is where, well, Issei's face is all red. This is where, well, mostly his father says, don't worry, kid. Maybe the children that you will bring will have golden and bluish eyes mixed together. Issei's face is all red. He says, go away already. This is where, well, his father chuckles and says, well, how should we go in then? Wait for me, Azo. Or mostly Governor General Azo. This is where, well, Gordo already left. And this is where both Issei and Rias are kind of just standing next to each other. Right now, all fluster. Like, literally steam has been coming off of their kind of ears for like the past couple of minutes. It feels like it's all steamy up in there. Mostly like very moistury and hot up where near both Issei. This is where mostly Issei and Rias. This is where, well, Issei basically gulps, looks at Rias, and this is where, well, Issei kind of sees Rias still very blushing, fluster, and this is where, well, Issei kind of looks at his phone just to see what time is it, and realizes class is almost over. Wait, what? This is where the bell rings, and this is where Issei sees. If basically both Rias and him just stand in the hallway, this might be even more confusing for people. This is where Issei grabs her from the hand and kind of pulls her towards the classroom, waiting until everyone kind of just walks away from wherever. Of course, when people got to that area, they felt very hot. They felt like they would just walk through hell for a second. They felt, why is it hot in this area? What is happening? This is where, well, people think someone just blazed it up out here and just started kind of walking around blazing in one part of the, what's it called, place. But people were confused until people just started spreading, what's it called, ghost rumors of a double ghost right now haunting the place. This is where, well, both Issei and Rias are basically in a room that's basically the janitor's room. Now, of course, where, well, it's pretty cramped, and of course, Issei does have both of his arms around, what's it called, Rias, and Rias is right now having her face right now burying his chest. And this is where, well, it's the most embarrassing thing, but they have to wait for 5 minutes. This is where, well, Issei is literally not trying to touch any chemical things, and neither does Rias. So, of course, they're just standing there still. This is where, well, we'll see the bell finally rings, the second bell, and of course, this is where everyone must be in their class. Now, of course, this is where, well, Lelouch and, well, Sona and what's it called, mostly Fugaku and what's it called, Yang, already are going to their own class. Now, of course, this is where, well, Fugaku was confused. They never saw, well, Issei or Rias came back. Lelouch has this weird feeling that something might have happened to him. This is where Fugaku also has the same thing. Now, of course, this is where, well, Yang is confused. She's kind of worried about her kind of friend, even though they're not really friends, but yet kind of so worried about Rias. Sona already has the conclusion of what really happened. They met Surzex, and Surzex might have talked to the both of them. Now, of course, she does know that Surzex knows the fact that Issei is, well, a hybrid of an angel, but has red wings. Which she doesn't know that much about him, but if he's kind of an angel, then either Rias is in trouble or Issei might be in trouble by Surzex. But this is where, well, she has to just kind of conclude something else, but yeah. This is where, well, when the bell finally rings, is where both Issei and, well, Rias kind of get out. Mostly Issei tries to get up, but this is where, well, Rias is not getting up. They're mostly kind of, well, he was laying down a little bit. Mostly not laying down, mostly, what's it called, they're standing up, but this is where, well, Issei tries to kind of move, but realize that, well, Rias isn't moving along. This is where, well, he kind of says, hey, Rias? Right now his face is all red and he's stuttering. This is where, well, Rias doesn't respond. This is where Issei says, Rias. This is where Rias is still not responding until he kind of like move her up to see her face. Her face is all red. Her eyes are closed. And of course, she has both of her kind of like hands upon, well, Issei's kind of like coat. And of course, not budging for a second. This is where Issei said, seriously? His face is all red. She seems to already just passed out from the embarrassment and being really close to Issei. And so where Issei's like, son of a bitch. Those son of a bastards really... He's right now getting memories of the fact that, well, Surzex and also Alto kind of just made them kind of go into a marriage contract for the fact for peace, but yeah. This is where Issei says, I hate both of them. I already hate my father for even agreeing to this. What about my mother? Oh, fuck that shit. She probably would have agreed in a heartbeat. This is where he thinks in his head. This is where he kind of opens the door. And of course, where he sees the door is kind of locking the door, he says, no, fuck this. This is where he makes a magic circle appear. Right now, incinerating the door. Right now, using his crimson red flames. Now, of course, when he does that, the door incinerates and just falls down. Or mostly just turns to ash. He walks out. Of course, this is where, well, Rias is still holding onto him. This is where, well, he's just like, I can't just leave her pass out somewhere. Damn it. This is where, well, he needs to just take her to the, what's it called, nurse office. So, of course, this is where, well, he managed to kind of make Rias let go of his hand by kind of making his, well, instead of having flames that are pretty hot, he instead has what's it called, this icy tone feeling, mostly an ice magic circle, to kind of appear mostly on Rias' hand, so she would kind of let go of what's it called, his jacket, or mostly coat. This is where she does, and this is where, well, she was about to fall down until Issei managed to catch her and just pick her up in bridal style. Issei says, this is going to be so embarrassing. Oh god, where is the nurse office again? He kind of looked at, what's it called, a sign that said K-Hall, and Issei says, son of a bitch. E-Hall is almost across the whole school. I hope no one sees me like this. This is where, well, Issei is walking, mostly trying to be very careful and looking at what's it called. If he sees what's called, well, cameras, he would just annihilate them at once. He will pay for them later, but right now he's trying to make sure that no one catches him doing, well, what he's doing, basically carrying Rias. This is where, well, and basically bridal style. This is where, well, Issei keeps doing stuff, and this is where, well, someone is walking, and this is where, well, basically it's just a student, until, well, Issei didn't really pay attention and where he was coming from, but mostly he saw, what's it called, Issei and Rias together, mostly Issei kind of looking around, seeing, having Rias in a bridal style, and this is where he's like, the Prince of Dark, this is where Issei turns around and says, shit, I'm going to annihilate him with red crimson flames. This is where, well, the person turns around and was about to run away to kind of spread the rumors, but until someone says, I, Lelouch Berchangan, command you to stop. This is where, well, The person looked into the eyes of one of the eyes of Lelouch, and right now the ability allows him to control, well, this person. This is where the person says, Lelouch Britannian, what is your command? I need you to forget everything you saw here. This is where, well, and walk back to your classroom at once. Snapped his hand, and the person does kind of accept the command and walked away. This is where, well, Lelouch says, what an interesting sight I see. Two red hairs, well, mostly two redheads, kind of being in such a weird opposition. This is where Issei says, thanks, Lelouch. Okay, don't get this wrong idea, but the Devil King and also the Fallen Angel Governor kind of met up with me and was called Rias. Lelouch says, I wouldn't believe that, but yet I know that's very believable when I have seen Azel before. This is where, well, Issei says, I know, since your family isn't really connected to the supernatural, well, somewhat connected, but yeah. Yep. Now, you're trying to get her to the nurse office to leave her there, aren't you? Or are you going to cuddle with her? This is where Issei's face becomes red and says, go away. Well, how about you go cuddle with, what's it called, Sona? This is where, well, Lily's face becomes a little bit of tint of red and says, I might. This is where, well, Issei says, then go do it. This is where, well, Lily says, do you want my help or not? This is where Issei says, yeah, I do. I need you to keep kind of commanding people to forget about stuff like this. This is where, well, Issei and, well, what's it called, Lelouch does this, mostly get to the hallway of E hallway and get to the nurse's office. And of course, this is where Issei puts her down on the, what's it called, like, bed and other things. And this is where, well, he kind of puts her down there. And of course, this is where, well, her face actually seems to, even though she was passed out, her face was normal. But of course, this is where, when Issei does put her down, her face was red, which it was confusing. Unless that means she was already awake. Before Issei gets to leave, his coat kind of got grabbed. Mostly his long sleeve coat kind of got grabbed. This is where when Issei turns around, he sees, well, Rias, well, none other than Rias, kind of having her, well, mostly hand shot up to grab his, but mostly it's just the coat. And this is where Issei says, ugh. This is where, well, Issei saying, damn it, either she's awake or she's not awake. This is where, well, Issei said, I really need to get out of this situation. She's not awake, so of course Lelouch can't use her, well, his ability. And Lelouch already left. He already sensed Lelouch already dipping on them. This is where, well, Issei, he then takes off his coat and puts it around, well, Rias. And this is where, well, Issei then leaves. This is where, well, he managed to kind of get away if she tries to kind of grab his arm again. Now, of course, he's just wearing his white button-up shirt and kind of walking away. He does close the kind of like, well, coat of it, and of course just walk out, opens the door and locks, well, mostly not lock it, mostly close it behind him, and just walks out. This is where, well, you go into Ria's POV. Her face, she has, well, one of her eyes open, but of course, this is where, well, when she noticed that Issei has left, her face was nothing but red. She said, why did I say that? She thinks in her head, why did I point at him? I could have avoided a lot of stuff, but the war. This is where she's so embarrassed. This is where, well, she can't believe she even decided Issei on the whole marriage thing. This is where, well, she's kind of regretting it, but yet at the same time, Issei was very warm. When basically she was kind of grabbed by her hand, forcibly by Issei, like a dominant kind of, well, mostly took in domination, or mostly dominant weight. She whined her eyes, but of course when they were in that janitor office, she kind of passed out from the warmness from, well, Issei's kind of like chest. But at the same time, she was very embarrassed, so she passed out from both those two cases. And when she was kind of being carried towards the nurse office, when they were like near, was it called, well, mostly A hallway, because there was like A, B, something like that. Mostly not A hallway, they were like near like C hallway. They kind of, well, realized that, well, not C hallway, they were near what's called like E hallway. And of course, this is where when Rias did wake up, she noticed that she was being carried by, well, Issei, or not E hallway, it was D hallway. And of course, this is where when they get to the nurse office, she just shot up her hand to try to grab Issei, but mostly grabbed his coat and Issei then put his coat over her. So of course she has both of her eyes widened, and of course, well, not from Issei kind of looking. When Issei walked away, she was still very embarrassed. But of course, after seeing that Issei left, her eyes widened. Right now, out of embarrassment and of course, a little fluster and having a little bit of a blood nose. Right now, her imagination's going wild. Issei is now leaving, walking away. Of course, he's hoping to get another black coat when he gets home, or maybe his parents will be wondering. His father will probably be trying to tease him. He kind of regrets a lot of things. He kind of hates it. This is where, well, something in his head, mostly someone in his head finally started talking, saying, "So partner, I can't believe I was correct. That red hair is actually going to marry you. And I wasn't expecting for her to be in the harem. So you basically have two beautiful exorcists, two beautiful fallen angels, one red hair, what's it called, mostly devil. What else are you gonna get? Oh, wait, am I forgetting about someone else? Who am I forgetting? Well, maybe that's all of them." He kind of said to, well, Issei, you're basically having 5 people in your harem. Or maybe you should get more. Maybe. Who would be best suited for you? And he says, "Hey, shut up, Drake. Where the hell have you been for the whole past, well, about 2 hours, or 1 hour mostly. 1 hour and 30 minutes. This is where, well, Drake says, "Oh, staying quiet. Such a beautiful sight to see. Such a very interesting sight." This is where, well, he says, no, no, Drake, stop this. Stop with the whole perverted stuff. I don't need this right now." "Oh, come on, you probably do." Besides, she was very flustered when you were carrying her. I even felt her heartbeat when she did wake up. When did she wake up then? Before you get into the nurse office, her heart was beating madly, but you were too distracted with, well, not being caught. What happened if rumors did spread from you having 5 beautiful women into the school? What will happen? Chaos will be ensued. That's the last possible situation I need to. And guys who try to fight me for no reason other than they're dumbasses and can't really fight against a god. This is where, well, Drake says, "I guess so." Or you can say you're a dragon. This is where, well, he says, "Whatever. I'm a god, dragon, whatever. I don't care." Pretty much, no, rumors like those are terrible. Luckily, I burned all cameras, and Lelouch managed to kind of control a bunch of idiots that managed to shut up and go away. This is right, well, Drake says, "If Lelouch wasn't there, what would you do? Incinerate them? Damn, you would not care, would you? I can't let rumors like those kind of spread throughout the, what's it called, whole school. Other than that, then girls would try to take a shot at me, trying to go out with me. And that's the last problem I want that to happen." Huh, interesting. Well, you would have had such a bigger, this is where he said, "Okay, well, I'm going to disconnect you before you go into try to throw such perverted stuff into my head." This is where Drake says, "It's perverted if you think about it like that. You tell me in detail, motherfucker. I don't need to hear you say it in such detail." Drake says, "I mean..." This is where he says, "No, go away." This is where he disconnects Drake and decides to get to class. The whole day was kind of such an embarrassing day because, well, he was still very red, and of course, every time Drake managed to get into his mind and talk to him, it was none other than talking about his whole harem problem or whatever, or his marriage problem. So yeah, it was just annoying to him. But of course, well, mostly after school, mostly what's it called, the 2 exorcists kind of went to the ORC to tell, well, mostly the devils to stay away from their hunt for the other 4 fragments of Excalibur. This is where, well, they mostly did try to attack what's called Ozia and tell her that she's a witch, which kind of pissed off what's called Rias, but also Ozia did kind of contact what's called Rainer, and, well, mostly Junko was next to them both. And also, Issei was next to, Rainer and Junko, but yeah, kind of talking to them. Of course, try not to remember those memories about what happened the whole day. Mostly trying to just relax and try to go home and other things. But of course, when he kind of heard that, his two, mostly childhood friend and of course her friend decides to threaten, what's it called, or mostly not threaten, mostly tell, what's it called, Azia to kill herself. Issei didn't really care, but the person next to him did. It was none other than Shinkai. Shinkai was so pissed. He ran to the ORC very pissed. This is where Issei tried to stop him, but yeah. This is where, Rainer was also very pissed, and Junko tried to stop her. But of course, this is where they managed to get there. And of course, this is where, what's it called? Kiba did try to fight both of them at once. This is where Shinkai landed and tried to fight against, Irina. This is where Shinkai says, "What did you say about my friend?" This is where, Hazuya says, "Shinkai." This is where, she said it such gently, kind of a gentle tone. And this is where, Shinkai was already pissed. His eyes were dark blue. This is where, Irina says, "Interesting. Your power. You're a human, but yet you're so powerful." This is where, she says, "I'm gonna have to stop you." This is where, she used Excalibur. He tried to swing at, Shinkai. Shinkai tried to dodge, but this is where Issei caught the sword in an instant, saying, "Sorry, Irina. I can't let you kill someone that I see as a little brother." This is where he grabs the Excalibur from her hand and kind of pushes her down to the ground. This is where, what's it called? Zenobia tries to attack Issei, but this is where, Issei was about to get, hit by the sword, but this is where Kiba appears trying to block it. But of course, Issei grabbed the kind of sword of destruction, kind of also pulling, what's it called, Zenobia down to the ground by using the sword to push her down to the ground. Mostly grab it and then push, kind of swing her over, push her down to the ground. This is where Issei says, "Stop, you two." This is where, Issei decides to start explaining after they two wake up. This is where, Issei realized that, yes, Azia was kind of, thrown into a lot of bad stuff, and this is where Shinkai is very overprotective with her, because he kind of likes, Azia's very gentle, very timid side, and he will rather protect her at any cost. This is where, Irina also kind of noticed that Shinkai is basically a smaller and mini version of Issei. So, of course, is where she thinks it's kind of cute. This is where, but of course, Shinkai is really overprotective of only Azia. This is where, Rias does meet, what's it called, Junko and Rainer, and of course, they're mostly to get the whole Excalibur stolen and other things. So, of course, where, Azia and the others are just basically talking, but yeah. This is where, I'm actually thinking of leaving it off here. That's why I'm stuttering, and, not really stuttering, mostly kind of getting tired, and thinking of just leaving it here, but yeah. Well, other than that, I'm going to end off here. I will continue this on with another day, but other than that, just goodbye, good night, and yeah, other than that, bye.